Hello, everyone. It is January 17th, 2019. This is part two of my series. This is only going to be two parts. I want to go ahead and make sure you do watch the first part because the second part will not make any sense without having watched the first. We're just about to get into some more material, but this is going to get quite a bit headier than what I was dealing with just prior. So we're just going to continue from this point with Assyria took the northern kingdom of Israel out of the Middle East into Western Europe and then eventually migrated to America, all in order to create a Babylon through the Freemasons that created the United States. The accuser is making a point. There is a covenant that operates over this world. The current morning star is soon to lose his title, and he is laying accusation against the next and final king, Yeshua Jesus Christ, and his chosen people, my people Israel. Now, this is Job 38, verse 4 through 7. Where wast thou when I laid the foundations of the earth? Declare, if thou hast understanding. Who hast laid the measurements thereof, if thou knowest? Or who hast stretched the line upon it? Where are the foundations thereof fastened? Or who laid the cornerstone thereof? When the morning stars, notice that, morning stars plural, sang together, and all the sons of God shouted for joy. You hear in the book of Revelation where Jesus declares himself that I am the bright morning star. He's basically saying, I have taken the title. The morning star has been literally transferred in the Latin Vulgate to Lucifer. There is no such individual as Lucifer. The King James Bible is still the only one that uses that relic term, and everyone has thought that Lucifer is, the agent of evil. It's the title of the adversary who has held the title over this world. He is soon to lose it, and since it has been conquered by Yeshua and through Yeshua's priest race, which is the Jewish people, he is laying accusation against those people. So this is where it gets very important to understand where not only the Jewish people are, if we want to discuss the kingdom of Judah, and we just did in the part one, we need to know who the lost 10 tribes are and where they ended up, because this is very important as to what is being done with them and what the point is in what is being done with them. I did bring up in my video on the ex-presidents, which shows the picture of our last president, I bring up something that is, again, hidden in plain sight, that if you go to Israel and walk around and then you look at America, you're looking at two countries that pretty much have the same demographic layout. Certainly, you would have said this a century ago in the United States, that we look pretty much exactly like most of the people that are in Israel today. No accident in this whatsoever. So nonetheless, I think we all know that our country is not what it was supposed to be, and we know we're quite a wicked country. So understanding what I was saying with regard to Freemasonry and what it actually is and what our country was formed to actually do is essential in understanding what this accusation is and why we have the morning stars. We have one who is now about to take and replace the one that is currently operating this world. And we know what a wicked world we have. We have wars. And the people that are operating this world are the inversion of the 144,000 kings that will rule under Christ in the Messianic kingdom. We've got basically 13 of the Illuminati families, and they are acting as the inverted aspect of the 144,000. And we're at constant wars with each other. The world wars were nothing more than Illuminati families fighting each other for control, and pretty much the populations of each of the countries are just pawns in this little game. So this is about to come to an end. The party is going to end, but nonetheless, there is a covenant that has operated on this planet for a long, long time. And right now, there are some of these morning stars who have broke the covenant. There are princes. And this is spoken of in the book of Daniel, and there's a couple other places I'm going to bring up in this video that are things I'm sure that your religion probably has never had the courage to discuss if you go to a church or have a traditional religious perspective. So we're going to touch on those things. I'm going to bring each of these up with biblical verses to back it. So now we have Daniel chapter 2, verse 43. I'll read the King James Bible version first. And whereas thou sawest iron mixed with miry clay, they shall mingle themselves with the seed of men. but they shall not cleave one to another, even as iron is not mixed with clay. Then we have the other above, and I don't remember the translation. And in that you saw the iron mixed with common clay. They will combine with one another in the seed of men, but they will not adhere one to another, even as iron does not combine with pottery. This is the deep, dark secret. This gets into, we have two races on this planet that are running alignment to each other. And the separation of the wheat and the chaff is the aspect of figuring out exactly which are which. I could go into a little bit more. I'm going to just give enough that I really hope that you can open your Bible up with a new level of discernment. Pray to our Father in heaven. I understand so much more than I'm actually going to share because, frankly, my place is to bring Christians to a deeper level of faith and bring those that are not believers into the house. But I am not about to try to bring up what I would call fringe belief, because I certainly don't want to get anyone's faith into any place where they're reeling from implications of what they read or understand through me. I prayed for my own level of discernment, so I'm going to show you some things that I think are necessary to get to the place of where I need to be and what I was told to do, which was get you to understand who my people Israel is. So nonetheless, this was the Bible verse I wanted to show you here. So let's go to Isaiah chapter 14. I'm going to read just parts of these and not all of them. You'll see how the verses on the left will skip, and I'm trying to get to points that are important. How you have fallen from heaven, morning star, son of the dawn. You have been cast down to the earth, you who once laid low the nations. You said in your heart, I will ascend to the heavens. I will raise my throne above the stars of God. I will sit enthroned on the mount of assembly, on the uttermost heights of Mount Zaphon. Now that mountain, note that, we'll find a place in footnotes that discusses this. I will ascend above the tops of the clouds. I will make myself like the Most High. But you are brought down to the realm of the dead, to the depths of the pit. Those who see you stare at you. They ponder your fate. This is the man who shook the earth and made the kingdoms tremble, the man who made the world a wilderness, who overthrew its cities and would not let his captives go home. This and this. There's many places in the Bible that make it very clear what this is about. I don't know a religion on this planet that will touch this with a 10-foot pole, but I understand it. I would just ask you to go into your Bible, read it, and if you're meant to understand what that is, it'll be given to you. All the kings of the nations lie in state, each in his own tomb, but you are cast out of your tomb like a rejected branch. You are covered with the slain, with those pierced by the sword, those who descend into the stones of the pit. Like a corpse trampled underfoot, you will not join them in burial, for you have destroyed your land and killed your people. Let the offspring of the wicked never be mentioned again, the offspring of the wicked. Now, we got in footnotes, Mount Zaphon was the most sacred mountain of the Canaanites. The Canaanites are associated in the book of Genesis with the Nephilim. They were the hybrids. The Canaanites, when the Israelis went into Canaan, they said that they saw beings that were so large that they looked like grasshoppers beside them. So this is an indication of what was done prior to the flood. The flood event washed all of this away. Nonetheless, there is a covenant that runs over this realm that we live in, and the covenant lasts a period of time. And so nonetheless, Yeshua came down, did what he did, and left until his appointed time, which is where we're at now in history. So nonetheless, I wanted to get past that and show you that. So, but you, Daniel, roll up and seal the words of the scroll until the time of the end. Many will go here and there to increase knowledge. Daniel chapter 12, verse 4. This really is absolutely it's rolled up and it's unrolling right now. There's so much information that is coming out now that is making all of this become very clear. I'm going to share part of it. So Daniel's vision of a man, mental note there. In the 3rd year of Cyrus, king of Persia, a revelation was given to Daniel, who was called Belteshazzar. Its message was true, and it concerned a great war. This is the time of the end. The understanding of the message came to him in a vision. At that time, I, Daniel, mourned for 3 weeks. I ate no choice food, no meat or wine touched my lips. He's basically talking about that he had somewhat been traumatized by this. Then he continued, this is moving on. Do not be afraid, Daniel. He's talking to the angel that has come after Daniel prayed. Daniel is held in high esteem by God, so the minute Daniel prayed the way that he did, he was sent an angel. But this is where it gets very important to understand and discern. Since the first day that you set your mind to gain understanding and to humble yourself before your God, your words were heard, and I have come in response to them. Now, this is where you have to pay attention. But the prince of the Persian kingdom resisted me 21 days. Now, you've got an angel of God who's being resisted by the prince of the Persian kingdom. Then Michael, one of the chief princes. Now, Michael is the archangel Michael that we talk of as the archangel, but he is a prince, came to help me because I was detained there with the king of Persia. The king of Persia is the prince of Persia, and you're going to find that there are princes of the covenant. So right here, you're being given some information as to who the operators are of these kingdoms. Then Michael, one of the chief princes, came to help me because I was detained there with the king of Persia. Now I have come to explain to you what will happen to your people in the future, for the vision concerns a time yet to come. Okay, do not be afraid. You are a highly esteemed piece. Be strong now, be strong. So it says here, do you know why I've come to you? Soon I will return to fight against the prince of Persia, and when I go, the prince of Greece will come. But first I will tell you what is written in the book of truth. No one supports me against them except Michael, your prince. Now, Michael is the archangel that is mentioned in the book of Revelation, who basically is going to be attacking Satan as he falls from heaven. If you've watched any of my other videos discussing what's going on up above our heads, NASA, who wears the symbol that I was bringing up in part 1 with the G, you're going to understand what this is all about. So this is all currently happening right now. Now, this gets into the meat of the matter regarding all of this is a mystery, and I'm going to leave this, like I said, to people's discernment. You're going to have to read the Bible and pray for discernment from our Father on this. I understand a lot more than I'm going to share, but nonetheless, Ezekiel 28, a prophecy against the king of Tyre. The word of the Lord came to me, Son of man, say to the ruler of Tyre, this is what the sovereign Lord says. Now, this was a ruler that came against Israel, one of the adjacent kingdoms. Once God made a point, he was going to make an example of the kingdom of Israel. This was during the first scattering. God was so angry with the people of Israel that he told them they would eat their sons and daughters. What people do not understand when they read the Bible, they want to go to the Gospels and read, they want to read the stuff that makes them feel warm and fuzzy. Everyone needs to understand something. When you engage the wrath of God, God is beyond what we understand when he becomes angry. Now, he does relent. Sometimes it's many generations. Sometimes it can be thousands of years. You notice the lost 10 tribes have never returned to Israel until the prophesied last days. This will take place. But nonetheless, the second scattering, it's been 2,000 years now, and they're still away. So nonetheless, here we go. This is what the sovereign Lord says to the king of Tyre. In the pride of your heart, you say, I am a god. I sit on the throne of a god in the heart of the seas. Now, again, this is here. But you are a mere mortal and not a god. Though you think you are as wise as a god, are you wiser than Daniel, who we were just listening to a moment ago? Is no secret hidden from you? By your wisdom and understanding, you have gained wealth for yourself and amassed gold and silver in your treasuries. But your great skill in trading, you have increased. By your great skill in trading, you have increased your wealth, and because of your wealth, your heart has grown proud. Therefore, this is what the sovereign Lord says: because you think you are wise as a god, I am going to bring foreigners against you, the most ruthless of nations. They will draw their sword against your beauty and wisdom and pierce your shining splendor. They will bring you down to the pit, and you will die a violent death. The word of the Lord came to me, Son of man, take up a lament concerning the king of Tyre, and say to him, this is what the sovereign Lord says. Okay, guys, here we go. You were the seal of perfection, full of wisdom and perfect in beauty. You were in Eden, the garden of God. Every precious stone adorned you: carnelian, chrysolite, and emerald, topaz, onyx, jasper, few I can't pronounce here, turquoise and beryl. Your mountings were made of gold. On the day you were created, they were prepared. You were anointed as a guardian cherub, for so I ordained you. You were on the holy mount of God. You walked among the fiery stones. You were blameless in your ways from the day you were created. This is like Ezekiel's wheel, the fiery stones. From the day you were created, until wickedness was found in you. Through your widespread trade, I'm assuming this is in the Garden of Eden, you were filled with violence and you sinned. So I drove you in disgrace from the mount of God, and I expelled you, guardian cherub, from among the fiery stones. Your heart became proud on account of your beauty, and you corrupted your wisdom because of your splendor. So I threw you to the earth. I made a spectacle of you before kings. Okay. These kings know who he is. So just understand from that vantage point what we got going on here and what I had read in the last pages of Daniel. By your many sins and dishonest trade, you have desecrated your sanctuaries. So I made a fire come out from you, and it consumed you, and I reduced you to ashes on the ground in the sight of all who were watching. All the nations who knew you are appalled at you. You have come to a horrible end and will be no more. So then an overwhelming army will be swept away before him. Both it, now this is from Daniel, and a prince of the covenant will be destroyed. I am just going to assume that might be him. Am I certain of that? No, I'm not. But when you read this, you understand an extremely violent army did come against them. They were utterly decimated, and if you read the entire chapter that is concerning the king of Tyre and his people, they didn't pass go. They didn't collect $200. They literally passed Judgment Day and all went to the pit right then and there. So I don't know what they exactly did. It isn't exactly intonated in the Bible, but what they were, I think they were planning on taking part of the land of Israel once the Israelis had been vacated from it, but God made it clear no one was going to be on it. So he pretty much, anyone who took advantage of in a certain manner against Israel and their situation, he was extremely wrathful with them as well. So in verse 19 through 21, Ezekiel said that there would come a time when the city is desolate, no longer inhabited, and submerged underwater. Now, this is talking about the ruins of the mainland Tyre being pushed into the sea, because some people said, well, it didn't happen. But nonetheless, what he was saying is that it would be desolate and no longer inhabited and submerged underwater. Well, the whole city was submerged underwater because it was pushed into the sea to make a land bridge. So our leaders are not who we think they are. Now, we've got Trump being compared to King Cyrus. Now, he is pushing the land for peace deal in Israel, and he has been put on the front of a coin with him profiled with King Cyrus. I thought that was real interesting. Cyrus the Great, Cyrus of Persia, commonly known as Cyrus the Great, and also Cyrus the Elder by the Greeks, was the founder of I can't say that name, the first Persian Empire. So we've just read a couple things that talk about who these kings are. So absorb that. Now we have him being compared to him. Now, again, we also have here elder by the Greeks, okay? So we've got this accolade, and of course, we've got the affiliation right here. So you read earlier what was written in the book of Daniel regarding the prince of Persia, king of Persia. Then he continued, do not be afraid, Daniel. Since the first day you set your mind to understanding and humbling yourself before your God, your words were heard, and I have come to respond to them. But the prince of Persia, the Persian kingdom, resisted me 21 days. So I was detained there with the king of Persia. So we've got already the king of Persia is being set against the Jewish people. So just hold on to that information as we go forward, because I find this very interesting. So the prince of Persia, being the king of Persia, held captive by the angel sent by Yahweh for 21 days, and yet here we have a coin comparing Donald Trump to King Cyrus of Persia, a Persian being minted in Israel. So there we go again. We've got it here talking more about who he was exactly. We've got the affiliations of all of this. Now, Donald Trump's 66th floor penthouse exposes his idol, sun god Apollo. Okay, this whole apartment you want to talk about like a Persian palace, you got one right here. Gilded in gold from top to bottom. I don't know if you've ever taken a look at what this is inside, but this thing is just dripping gold. Nonetheless, we've got this number here, which if you understand what numerology would say regarding that number, you're heading in the direction of what Revelation says regarding the beast. So we have a little hint here. And that number is also associated with occult. It's not a good number to have. So we've got Apollo led by in his chariot by Aurora on the wall. Greek vases, an Athenian Trump coat of arms, which that coat right there will tell you a whole lot about his affiliation with the double-headed phoenix, which is, I don't want to use too many of these words. I don't want to get hit, but nonetheless, the Masonic, it's embedded heavily in their symbolism as well. So who is King Cyrus and why did Netanyahu compare him to Trump? Mysterious Persian rulers credited for helping Jews return. Okay, so we've got the coin. Nothing about these people as appears. So we got him. There is something more going on with this than I'm going to share in this video, but nonetheless, that is nothing to do with David whatsoever. And of course, what an interesting thing going on here. This, you can tell where its origins are. He is a famous Satanist, and we've got the goat Amendus right here. So what a strange thing for a Jewish person to be doing. This verse in Yeshua, Jesus Christ, book of Revelation was written 2,000 years ago. This calls for wisdom. Let the person who has insight calculate the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man. That number is 666. Okay, we've got that number again, which I pointed out in all my videos. It's endless. Boom. Okay. It's always affiliated with this group. Now, we've got the sun god stuff. We've got all of this being pointed out, what all these little things mean here that are sitting around in the house. Almost there with that 66. Now, here we got the son-in-law. What are the chances of Trump's peace plan ever getting off the ground? Land for peace. Yahweh made it clear that this land of Israel is not owned by the Jews. It is leased to them. He also made it clear that if they so much as give one parcel of it away, Yahweh said he would destroy the world. Again, this calls for wisdom. The number of a man, that number is 666. Calculate the number of the beast. Well, what do we got going on here? I mean, what are the chances of a number like this popping up with this guy? Kushner buys 666 Fifth Avenue stake. Kushner Companies is buying Vornado Realty Trust out of 666 Fifth Avenue. Ending a rocky partnership. Jared Kushner dismantling a family empire. Okay, so we've got more talk about that Fifth Avenue property. Kushner's rise to unimaginable power by the New York Magazine. At this point, in 2017, he currently worked at the 15th floor of 666 Fifth Avenue. So we've got Jared Kushner, birth date, raised as a more modern Orthodox Jew. This 2,000-year-old Christian book of Revelation says this modern Orthodox Jew named Jared Kushner is satanic. Rabbis to Trump, you are fulfilling prophecies. 250 rabbis sent thank you letter praising Trump's decision to recognize Israel's new capital of Jerusalem. So we've got more stuff being talked about with regard to the family and the warm greetings. Now I got this guy, Yoni Metzger. Okay, he is let me say this correctly, Ashkenazi Jew. Okay, I saw a lot of these when I was in Israel. This man is satanic as well. You got the 3 6s, 1, 2, 3. So 1, 2, and 3. This is always the same thing with this bunch. They always show the same stuff. Behold, I will make of them the synagogue of Satan, which say they are Jews, but are not, but do lie. Behold, I will make them to come and worship before thy feet, and to know that I have loved thee. This calls for wisdom. Let the person calculate the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man. That number is 666. Why is this man doing this? Everybody knows what this is at this point. They're all doing it. All these people are involved with that group that I've been bringing up again and again and again. I got him doing it. That Land for Peace deal has, however, hit a snag. Unveiling of the Israeli-Palestinian plan delayed by months. Turns out we had Mr. Bolton touring tunnels beneath the Western Wall in Jerusalem's Old City. When I was there, I actually saw all the construction going on and wondered what it was all about. Now we have this underground. I'm running a little bit short of time here. I think I'm gonna have to run into a 3-parter, but the third part's gonna be very short. Nonetheless, here we've got White House National Security Advisor John Bolton tunnels in under the Western Wall in Jerusalem's Old City on Sunday. Now, this was at the time after I had left. We've got Bolton touring these tunnels. Now, it got the Palestinians quite angry about the situation, so they announced another delay in the peace plan. So nonetheless, we have an American dignitary visiting the Western Wall. They typically do not venture into ancient tunnels, as to appear not to take sides in the dispute over Eastern Jerusalem between Israelis and Palestinians. Okay, so now he wrote, now this is Bolton, says the Israel's excavation of the tunnels is a great accomplishment. Best wishes for all your efforts. Israel captured the city's eastern half, home to the holy site for Jews, Christians, and Muslims in the 1967 Middle East War, and annexed it. That's what the year Israel did that. So we've got all this stuff being discussed, and let's see. The behavior will not change the fact that East Jerusalem is an occupied territory. So I'm not going to go into too much more of what it's all saying here. Again, the president tasks his son-in-law, Jared Kushner, with all of the trying to level out all the hard bumps here and the roadblocks. So nonetheless, long article. I'm going to show you just little pieces of it. Regarding the government of the United States, and we had Bolton there, I told you this is the origin of our government, and that is set up for a specific reason. So at this point, let me go ahead and end this video, and we'll go into a part 3, and that'll start here in just a moment.